What time is it? It's Goji time once again, baby. We got a new Goji box right here. Fragile. Okay? Let's open it up and see what we got. First off, let's give a shout out to Steve Agan at Agan Toys, because I'll tell you what, there probably isn't a better place if you're looking for some rare Godzilla figures, Bandai, anything of the sort. I highly recommend doing business with Agan Toys. You can follow them on Instagram at Agan Toys, A-G-I-N-T-O-Y-S. Agan Toys on Instagram, agantoys.com. He'll take care of any of your Godzilla needs. So let's get this sucker open and review it. All right, so what we have here is Godzilla the Art exclusive, Godzilla 1954 Maquette from Bandai. And before I get into this, once again, I just want to thank Steve Agan from Agan Toys. This is my first purchase from Agan Toys, and I will definitely be buying more from them. I had a great conversation with Steve about all things Godzilla, and what a perfect figure for my first purchase from Agan Toys. This is so cool, man. I've wanted this guy for a while, and I can't wait to dive into this and talk about it. First, let's take a look at the card, man. This is, like, I would have to say, one of the most beautiful cards I've seen on a Bandai figure. You might see some cards that are nice and some cards that are kind of just lackluster. Like the Odo Island version of Godzilla -1, there was really nothing much on the card. This is beautiful, man. I love the colors. I love the red and the grays. I love the picture of the 54 Maquette right here with the clock tower. Awesome, man. Of course, it's Godzilla's dorsal plates on the back. There's nothing much on the inside but a bunch of words. There's no other picture. But so what? This is just beautiful, man. Look at that. That just jumps right out at you. It's a really nice card for a really nice figure. So I'm going to get that in some plastic now, and then we're going to dive into this. I'm going to talk about the history of this figure, of the Maquette style, and before I get into the figure review, and then we'll dive into the figure itself. All right. Okay, so now, since Godzilla was basically a metaphor for the atomic bomb and nuclear weapons, one of the original drawings and sketches, concept art for the look of the creature, had his head basically resembling a mushroom cloud. That was the idea that they had. Now, Teizo Toshimitsu, who's basically a sculptor, a visual artist, and one of the pioneers in creating these kaiju suits and kaiju designs, basically did a few clay models of Godzilla, of basically his first attempt of translating the idea of the mushroom cloud head for the head of the creature. And as you can see here, that's basically the idea that they were going for, a mushroom cloud type of head. And he sculpted several clay figures, this design being the first of them, where you could actually see Godzilla with scales rather than his normal charred up skin, which they wanted to mimic the skin of the Japanese people who were exposed to the nuclear radiation. And so this design basically has scales instead of that. So it was the first attempt. He also did one where the skin was a little bumpier. almost like that of some certain frogs. And then he did a final one with this shape head with the skin of Godzilla that we all know today. And these designs were rejected until he got to the Godzilla that we now know as the original 1954 Godzilla. But this was the first guy that the first design that came out, and it's a really, really cool design, in my opinion. Maybe they rejected it because they felt it wasn't they wasn't menacing enough. Maybe they felt it looked too cute. It looked too chipmunkish. I don't know. To be honest with you, I think it has a certain charm to it, while also being very creepy. And I just love this design. I wouldn't hate it if they actually wound up doing a movie with this design of Godzilla. I would be all in on that, honestly. Because everything about this design and this figure just screams rare. Rare, charming, classic. These are the things that come to mind. Creepy. These are the things that come to mind when I see this figure and I see the face on this figure. And so, if they never make a movie using this design, at least I hope they make some more figures of it. And I'm very happy that Bandai actually made a figure of this, because it's very nice. They had an art exhibition in Japan, Godzilla the Art Exhibition, and these figures were offered to the people who attended the event. Basically, it was like a mail order. You had to be a resident of Japan at first. And this figure started off at about $32, I believe. And it's now selling for over 100. It wouldn't shock me if it just keeps going up and this winds up being a $300-400 figure sooner rather than later, because it has the look of such a rare figure that people would really want to get their hands on it. And I'm very, very happy that I did. And now we'll dive a little deeper into the look of the figure. But I just wanted to go back a little bit and try to give you a bit of a history of this figure that started out as just a clay sculpt, that I quite like. We've all seen the pictures, so you know what I mean. I haven't really. Everybody who sees this or who comments on it or does reviews usually really likes this style of Godzilla, this figure, this look. So let's just get further into the figure now. Okay, so did I mention I really love this figure? Yeah, I mean, this figure feels like you're getting a piece of history, and that's just absolutely what it is. I love the look of this Godzilla. I love the shape of this Godzilla. Like this Godzilla, you can't tell you can't decide whether he is cute or spooky and creepy, and that is from his head to the shape of his body, to the scaling, to everything about him. He's got stubby legs. You know what I mean? He's got shorter arms, stubby legs. He's got a little bit of a pot belly, but yet it looks kind of scary at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell if you want to boop his nose or if he's the stuff that nightmares are made out of, And I like that he rides that gray area in between. That's why I'm saying I wouldn't mind if they made a movie with this design. You know what I mean? Just make it as rare as make the movie as rare as the design is. And so, you know, I love the way Bandai did the scaling. You could see that here on the figure. It's kind of interesting to think about Godzilla with scales. It makes him look more amphibian. It makes him... I wonder what it would look like with, like, shimmering wet scales when he came out of the water as opposed to the way his skin is now. But I do love his skin now, and I ultimately like that better. I just find this quite interesting, and I wouldn't mind if they gave us a movie with this look. And the scaling is quite nice. It's you could see it down here to the legs. The tail is like more, the look of the tail, the design of the tail seems to be more like the conventional Godzilla tail, whereas you have a scaling on the body, on the arms, on the midsection and the legs, and the stubby little legs. Then, of course, we get to the mushroom cloud head here. The eyes are just straight up white. No pupils. It's just straight up white eyes, which is kind of creepy. That adds to the scariness of it. Kind of like the GMK Godzilla. It gives that appearance. This is a closed mouth figure, as you can see here. Partially closed, actually, but it's closed. It doesn't open the mouth. With some very well done teeth, I must say. If you can see, the teeth are like a nice bonish color. And I just love the way they're painted. I love the way the inside of the mouth is painted. But it is a closed mouth figure. And I happen to like I think some of the Bandai closed mouth figures are some of their better figures. Like the 73 closed mouth figure. Then you have the 91 Gedo Goji suit closed mouth figure. Which are very, very nice. So sometimes I can appreciate that when it's a closed mouth figure, because you always see them with his mouth open quite a bit. I like the look of it when the figures have closed mouths on them. You know, I'm not gonna go crazy deep into the articulation here. It's arms and legs. The tail don't move. The head don't move. No, if you care about articulation on this figure, I don't know what to say to you. You know what I mean? You're not buying this for the articulation. You're buying this for the classic look of it, for the rare figure that it is. You know, the paint job on this is just very basic. It's like a medium gray, medium to dark gray. You know, you don't have much detail in the way of paint on the dorsal plates. Of course, you don't have some of the dorsal plates on the back of his head are not painted. They're not painted to the tip of the tail. And I don't know. I can't for the life of me figure out why Bandai does that. If that's just their style, or if it's, you know, they don't have the money to finish the paint job on the tail. I don't know. It costs too much. I'm not sure. If it's just their style, that's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. Paint it to the tip of the tail. I think damn near everybody prefers it that way. So, but then again, you know, just getting this figure, you're not going to mind that. You're just going to overlook it. You know what I mean? And this, they do it rather uniformly where, as I said, you have a couple on his head that aren't painted, and then you have one on the tail that's painted, and then they just quit. So I don't know. It's like the middle dorsal plates are painted. And it's a serviceable paint job. It's nothing out of the ordinary. There's no paint on his fingernails. There's no paint on his toenails. So, I don't know. Everything else is done quite nice. even though there's no pupils in the eyes, I like the eyes. The soulless eyes. They're creepy. I love the way they painted the teeth in the inside of the mouth. Great job. The dorsal plates are a great job. But why not finish the paint job? I don't know. I don't get it. At least I get it. Maybe you for the fingernails and toenails, I get it that maybe you're going for a basic look. The original figure was just a clay figure. So maybe they had that in mind for this. I think it would have been nice if they just painted the dorsal plates to the tip of the tail. I think that would take it up. It's, again, I'm not going to be that nitpicky about this because I think it's cool that they made it regardless. And I'm happy to have my hands on it. And I think this is a figure that's certainly going to appreciate. So, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? You're not buying it for the paint to the tip of the tail. You're not buying it for the articulation. You're buying it to have, you know, this classic look of Godzilla and add it to your collection. So, but overall, I think it's very, very well done. I'm extremely happy to have it. It's a figure that's rich with history of the original Godzilla. And there's a place for it. You know what I mean? There has to be. This is a Godzilla that existed in time. So let's see if whoever likes this Godzilla, let's see if we could get a little movement to get this guy a movie with this design in it. Can we do that? You know what I mean? It seems like everybody I come across really likes this design. Why not push for this guy to be in a movie? I think a dark one, too. You know what I mean? Like the tone of Godzilla -1 with this guy. I think you could almost make it like a horror movie and use this guy. And it would be really cool. You could make him like, you know, evil in the vein of GMK or Godzilla -1 or the original 54. But yeah, I mean, I love his big fat head, you know, which you could either interpret as goofy or scary. I love his little stubby legs and pot belly. It's just a beautiful figure. Bandai's been doing some really good figures lately. I love the 73 and the 75 that Bandai put out. I actually have those on order already from Showcase Daikaiju. And then the next purchase I'm probably going to make from Agen Toys is the 64 that Bandai put out, which just is an exceptional figure as well. And then I love the 91. And they also did another art gallery, another art exhibition, and the figure that they offered there was an exclusive of the 91, but they teamed up with one of the artists and did it in his style. It's like a blue and yellow version of 91. So those are on my list as some of the next figures that I'm going to purchase and review. But, yeah, I mean, get this guy while it's hot. Get this guy while it lasts and while he's still affordable. This is a piece of history. And it just, you know, it just makes you wonder. This is the sculptor, the artist, the pioneer of kaiju suits' first attempt and first rendition of Godzilla. This was his original idea of what the creature should look like based on some of the earliest sketches and ideas of it. And this could very well have been the Godzilla that we got. We wound up getting in the movie. They rejected him, but this could have very well been what he looks like. And I think he looks great, personally. I get why they rejected it and sharpened up his design, because the 1954 Godzilla that they wound up using in the movie was much more terrifying and menacing, I believe, than this guy. Although, I think if you did a movie with this guy the correct way, you could make him really scary. You know what I mean? I could see this guy in an absolutely... I'm talking about something that's even darker than Godzilla -1. You know what I mean? More evil than GMK Godzilla, you know? But this is just another well-done figure by Bandai. It's very nice. For as plain as it is, and simple and basic as it is, it's so classic. With such a beautiful card. So, but yeah, that's it. I just wanted to share this with you, give you some of the history, show you the figure, and just BS with you guys like I normally do. Go out, get you some Maquette Goji, baby. Get you some 54 Goji. And definitely hit up Aiken Toys. Give him some business. Hit up add him on Instagram. Buy a nice figure from him, and you won't regret it. And I'll see you soon, boys. I'll be back at you with another review shortly.